In the bookish community, everyone and their mothers have discussed ebooks versus physical books. But something that is rarely ever discussed is audiobooks. Salutations, welcome to Loving the Language of Literacy. My name is Ophelia, and today I'll be discussing audio versus visual reading. If you've been watching my BookTube channel for a while now, you may know this, but I am an absolutely 100% advocate and firm lover of the audiobook. The day my mother gave me the 19 CD collection of The Chronicles of Narnia in radio theater, my life completely changed. I'll have to admit to you, I've actually never read all 7 books in The Chronicles of Narnia, nor have I read Les Miserables, The Hiding Place, Little Women, Anne of Green Gables, or The Secret Garden, but I can quote to you several passages from all of those novels, and I am completely in love with all of those stories. If you didn't know, radio theater is basically where they hire actual actors, sound effect makers, as well as musicians to create one huge production of a book. And obviously this is the principle of an audiobook, but essentially radio theater is a movie without the visual aspect. For some hardcore members of the bookish community, there is actually some stigma as well as prejudice against audiobooks. Most commonly, this is because the vast majority of audiobooks are told by only one storyteller who has to do all the voices, all the sound effects, and just everything by themselves, because that's usually all the production can afford. And to be honest, there are a lot of bad audiobooks out there which are just monotone and you hate every second of it. And a misconception of mine when I was younger was that all audiobooks were dramatized, which is of course completely inaccurate, and I was utterly spoiled as a child with my radio theater. Nevertheless, there is hope for people who have just never given audiobooks a try or have hesitation towards listening to them. Today, I'm here to give you my sales pitch. There are 3 short and simple reasons why I think in some situations audiobooks are the way to go. Number 1, the speed. An average physical young adult novel can take me anywhere between 3 to 6 hours, and I consider myself a fast reader. Meanwhile, the same exact novel could take me half the time in audio form if sped up. Even if, though I highly doubt this, you read at the same pace an audiobook would, I guarantee you the entire book will go by a lot faster if you listen to it. And that brings me to my second point, multitasking. So often, as not only readers but just people in general, we use the excuse that we can't read because we don't have the time. While I personally believe that everyone can read if they make the time to do so, I also understand that we all have busy schedules, and that's why I'm a big endorser of audiobooks because of the concept known as multitasking. I'm a 21st century kid, and that means that I constantly have music playing in the background or a YouTube video, whether I'm doing homework or I'm in the car on the way to school. And even I have to admit it, some days you just can't sit down and make the time to read, but I guarantee you can find the time to listen to an audiobook, especially if you can sit there for hours on end watching YouTube videos. Before you say there's too much effort in reading a story, listening to an audiobook is the same exact principle as sitting in front of your computer and binge watching Netflix. Better actually, because you can be doing other visual things such as cleaning your room and eating food at the same time, and who doesn't love to eat food? And then there's reason number 3 why you should listen to audiobooks. The immersive experience. As consumers of media in general, we prefer reading books because we can just imagine entire universes and worlds inside of our heads because of these words that an author has written on a page. As movie watchers, we love seeing everything brought to life with sound and visuals. I personally love audiobooks because it's the happy medium in between. The characters' voices are given to us, but we still have the freedom to imagine how they look and the setting, but we can also hear the slight details like the slam of a car door or the whistle of a tea kettle. This gray area between visual reading and movie watching is something that I believe people also fear. I completely understand this because I've been known to get distracted as well. While multitasking is something that is very easy to do while listening to an audiobook, you also have to pay some attention to it. That proves a bit problematic if you don't have the best attention span. But once you get immersed in the whole experience of having a story told to you, you can't stop. In a few cases, I've literally put aside physical reading as well as YouTube watching in favor of listening to my audiobook audiobook because I was so enthralled with the story that I wanted to know what would happen just like a physical book. Something else that I absolutely love about audiobooks is the convenience of them. For example, you may have heard of a little thing called The Lunar Chronicles by Marissa Meyer. 2 summers ago, I read Cinder and Scarlet. But as we all know, winter is coming. I actually never got around to reading Cress, and I obviously have to have the series fresh in my mind before winter comes. So my solution to that problem, you guessed it, is audiobooks. Ain't nobody got time to reread 700 pages worth of text. On the flip side of this, people can be judgmental of those reading audiobooks. And I have to admit that I've done this myself. You know when all those big YouTubers talk about not being able to read and how they use Audible instead and just plug their affiliate link? Yeah, everyone's seen those videos. I don't want to be judged that way, and audiobooks will never be my primary way of reading books either. Now I'm going to talk about the not so positive aspects of audiobooks. The biggest problem I have with audiobooks are that they aren't tangible. As a booktuber, more importantly as a book reviewer, I like to bookmark and highlight and annotate, but you obviously can't do that during an audiobook, and it is not easy to go back and find what just happened. There will always be the rewind button, but the actual going back and seeing the exact words or the exact quote or maybe a description of a character is impossible while listening to an audiobook. I can't tell you how many times I've fallen asleep listening to an audiobook, and when I wake up I've completely lost my place. I've gone through an entire CD and there's no way I can go back to the exact second I left off. Even if you're not going to review the book, losing your place is definitely the #1 struggle as an audiobook listener. Another factor of audiobook listening is one that is brought up so commonly in the physical books versus ebooks discussion. To be honest, no one actually buys audiobooks nowadays unless, of course, they're on Audible. Personally, I'm a huge advocate of the library, but even with that, there are definitely issues. There comes a time when you have to ask yourself, hard copy CD version of the audiobook or digital one. The biggest issues with hard copies are that no one has CD players anymore, and what I had to do actually with my entire Lunar Chronicles CD collection is download them to my computer, then download them onto my iPad so I could listen to them. And before you say anything, yes, I will delete them when I return the books. I'm not going to keep them forever. I'm not pirating. Please don't accuse me. I respect authors way too much to do that. But then there's the new concept that I know a lot of libraries have taken into place, and that is Overdrive. With Overdrive, in less than 5 minutes, you can choose the book you want, check out, and download straight to your mobile device. I sound exactly like an advertisement at this point, and that's not what I'm trying to do either. The point of this discussion was not trying to convince you that audiobooks are the be-all, end-all way to read, but merely to expose you to the medium. Everyone will always agree that we love physical books, we love stroking them, we love the pretty covers, and of course, there's the smell as well as the sensation of flipping pages. When you just don't have the time to sit down and read, the actual process is made so much easier with audiobooks. Tell me in the comments below what you think. Have you listened to audiobooks, more specifically radio theater? And if you have, holla at me because I love them so much. If you want any recommendations for audiobooks specifically, tell me in the comments below because I can make a whole separate video. And if you don't like audiobooks, tell me why. And if you do, then also tell me because I'd love to hear your reasons as well. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Keep calm, read on, and I'll see you in a video soon. Goodbye! If you enjoyed this discussion, give this video a big thumbs up and comment below. If you want to see more like it, hit the subscribe button. And if you want to follow me on my social media, it's around my face at SLSBooks, and my previous videos are all below me.